Good evening. I'm sorry. It's not evening. It's morning. La la. It's morning. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find his or herself in America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One, and we're coming up this morning because I've been told to have to put out more content. And, some reputable people in the community requested this. So I told them I would apply, do it. So, what I wanted to share this morning, because right now, what's going on in the world, if you can read the signs that are on the wall, it is to level you completely. The so-called African American, the Black, the Negro, the color, whatever you want to call yourself. But you start off with those terms when you're describing yourself. You put yourself in a situation where whatever happens to you, it's not happening because somebody else is doing it. It's happening because you're doing it. You're doing it. You're taking on identities and being made into something that is not of your doing. And won't change. Arrogant about it. You can do it too. I would suggest you use that energy for something else. People just can manipulate you and with simple words. And I want to show you what that leads to, because it leads to the elimination. Now, so-called Black man, you know how you're looked at in the world. Every single one of you. So these are the kind of things that helps keep this going. Now, this paper right here, this is an internet paper. It's like a newspaper, but it's internet style. And I just want to show how the thoughts, how people think of themselves when they get this stuff and what they believe about themselves. I just want to share some stories with you in this paper called blacknews.com. Somebody sent it to me. It has let's say 1 million fans and followers. I don't know yet. I guess this is today. Let's say it has 1 million fans and followers. It say 800,000 plus, but let's just go ahead and round it off. What's in these papers? And this is just not this paper. This is damn near every publication out there. What we write about ourselves because we don't know who we are. Still, still doing all kind of dumb shit that doesn't solve the problem. We can revolutionize the world right now if we just thought right. If we just what would we say if we treat everybody like they treat us? What? That wouldn't change things? What if we boycotted everybody who boycotts us? Simple. Simple. Everybody can do that. Why is that so hard to do? because you're trained to do it. You're trained to do it. And how are you trained? How do you train a person? How do you just tell them the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. That's all you do. That person will be on that cadence for the rest of their life. So, I want to share a story with you before we get into this to show you how this affects us. I was hanging out with my niece yesterday, and I think she's like 24, 25. And so every time we get in the car together, she doesn't like to play the music because she knows that the music is horrible and I'm not going to like it. And that's cool. I appreciate that. So she said, well, what's the best music, you know, in each decade? Like, what's the best music of the 60s? What's the best music of the 50s? What's the best music of the 70s? Stuff like that. So I asked her, what did she think the best music was? And she said the 90s. Okay. I said by the 90s, I had really stopped listening to music because it was on a downward slope. She said, well, what was the best music? And I said, 70s. And she said, I don't think I've heard any music from the 70s. I said, you've heard some music from the 70s. You probably don't know it. You're probably looking at it another way. You're younger. You don't see things how I see them because I'm older. But you've heard music in the 70s because it's the baddest shit out there. She said, play a song in the 70s and let's see if I like it. So I did with any, somebody who's trying to show somebody what it really is and not just bullshitting them and trying to trick them. What really is, I put on Sly and the Family Stone's Hot Fun in the Summertime because summer's about to end, the whole mode, the whole picture. This chick was on a whole nother vibration the whole time that song was playing. She was on a whole nother vibration. She was thinking something totally different than what she was thinking before we had this conversation. And she was like, what are those sounds? And I'm like, what sounds? And she started, making the sound with her mouth of the horns, the saxophone, the trumpet. She was like, what are those sounds? And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can make a song with a cell phone now. So I get it. And I was just pointing out, the horns and the people who were playing them and whatnot. And she was like, wow. Because her whole definition of music, her whole way of thinking about music is only what she's trained to. Is only what she's trained to. She won't know what nothing is. And this is what I mean about the sperm is going in reverse. They're trying to obliterate you off the planet for what these demons got planned or what these demons are doing now, and how it's to be made sure that you are to be kept as dumb as anybody on the planet. This paper And subsequently, all media like this makes it bad for you, and you'll support it. You always notice the Negro only supports things that's damaging to him. Why is that? The sperm is going in reverse. And we'll get into what that means in a minute. But let's get into this paper first. So this paper is called Black News. Blacknews.com. No. And what it tells somebody's right is you. This is not something that's put together by us. This is like a little bot AI or some kids in college putting together the stuff to make some money off you. That's how it's done. And we should know that, but we keep on doing it. The sperm is going in reverse. So if you just scroll and check out the stories, we're just going to check out a couple because I want to show you this is what they think about you. Ghana and other African nations who enslaved sold blacks to Europeans to formally apologize. These are the kind of meetings we got to be at. These are the kind of people we got to talk to. Like, show us how that happened. Explain with all your facts how that happened. This didn't happen. And why is this the front story? The first story. This is how they train your children. And when you go down, most of the stories are dumb. Most of the stories are some buck and bubble stuff. Just clown stuff. So we're going to go into it, and I'm going to show you what these people have done with this. And this is what I mean. The sperm is going in reverse. So you go down and read some of the stories. I mean, Black mom and daughter duo write a children's book focusing on the beauty of growing food. Great. It's a few stories in here like that. But when you go down and you start just really getting into it, pastor apologizes for criticizing his broke congregation for not buying him a luxury watch. Why is that news? Why is that news? Why is it always stories of pastors who do the wrong shit every time? But the people are so dumb, they don't even see it. It's like the cat that went ahead and got robbed. What kind of pastor in this day and time, when they're gentrifying Negroes all over the country, and those Negroes aren't even wise enough to go back to the land their mamas and daddies left them? How come we don't get that? How come we don't see that? Black woman catches white passenger sending a racist text message about her on a flight. Really? Really? That's the news? And if you listen to the morning radio, you have to be joking on the morning radio programs. You got to be joking. So papers like these, publications like these, stay away from them. Don't recommend them to anybody because it's always showing black. They don't even make sure black people are people. They talk about them as if they're things. Remember, there's nobody black If somebody says you're black, just ask them, if I'm black, what color is the hair on my head? And look at and watch the dumb look on their face. Remember, black people are trained to be black. They're not black. They're not the color of their pants. They're not the color of their shoes. They're just trained that they're a thing. And that's what the behavior will start to become. So why I got to this paper, because I wanted to, show you what they're about. I want to share I want to share this article with you. Check this out. This is what I'm saying. The sperm is going in reverse. And we folly in it. We think it's cool. Check this out. Check this out. And when I saw this, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Check this out. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna be pissed at me, but don't be. Okay, I'm just trying to make a point. This image came out of that paper. This image came out of this paper, and this image gets a lot of attention. That's all it is. It gets a lot of attention. And so the people who love Tupac got together and made sure this happened. And I want you to understand what this means. You have Tupac. When Tupac first came out, it took the whole rap game in another direction. An example, when hip hop first started, it was just, cats coming up, being creative, coming up with stories, rapping about stuff. Real cool art form, because they were telling stories in 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever it was. It was a real cool expression art because nobody else was doing it. And it went on for a few years. Then a group called NWA came out, took it in a whole nother direction. Now, these are things we don't talk about. These are things we don't really want to talk about because we know that we were the ones who were advocating it. Then a little bit later, Tupac hit the scene. Now, remember, this is like that magazine that I just showed you. These people are not doing this. They're being controlled to do it. They're being set up to do it. And I know many of you are on that music, that entertainment, how these are clubs that they do to promote an agenda, and they're paid to do it. That's all it is. So when this cat comes out, tattoos wasn't a big thing. He had it written across his stomach and was showing you body parts that in hip hop that really wasn't done. Men being in bathtubs, taking pictures and stuff, that really wasn't being done. Matter of fact, it wasn't being done. This cat came on and turned the whole music game in a whole nother direction. Yeah, the music was cool, real nice. Some of it was. I didn't get into a lot of it. But one of the things that this cat made popular is the sagging pants. The sagging pants. That's a training that's reserved for Black young males. It's what they're trained to do. And I have a friend who, by the way, is one of those animals. She takes care of animals, one of those animal advocates. And she talks about the animal body and she normally compares it to the human body, what animals can do, what happen if a a dog get hit by a car, how his bones come back compared to how human football players who break their legs or whatever, how their body heals. She's real cool on stuff like that. And she was telling me, she said, when you wear your pants down where your hips are, it changes the way you walk. And over time, training, over time, your walk will be like that, even if you have the pants up or down. It changes the way. And that's going to be for all the hip replacement surgeries. So this is what I mean when you say you're Black and you always refer to yourself that something that you're not. This is how you're used. And the average Negro have not a clue. Have not a clue. That's why I say the sperm is going in reverse. Why is the sperm going in reverse? I'm going to be real short with this. I'm going to be real short with this. Because we like to play around. We like to pretend that we don't see nothing so we can just keep having fun and we can keep doing what we want to do. That ain't how it goes. What I mean by the sperm is going in reverse is this. Remember, all of us, when we're born, we're going out into the world, picking up. We're here to solve problems. We're here to solve problems. That's why we're here. Don't you remember those old stories? This is when we really used to care about each other. When people had their children, they named their children after famous people, hoping that their children would be like that famous person. Named them after people in the family to keep them connected to the family. Remember we used to do that? Remember we used to do that? Wasn't that long ago. Every male, every female is started by a sperm cell and the cell that the mother is compatible with in the mother. That sperm cell is going forward to get to that cell of the mother to create you. to create you. The sperm cell connects with the cell in the female to create you. Is that okay? It's real simple. You come out to change the world. You come out to change the world. You're not coming here to get a job. You're not coming here to play football. You're not coming here to do what somebody else tells you to do. You come here to change the world. You come in here to make the world the place that your ancestors made it, that made everybody want to come. And now they're taking advantage of you because you don't mind eating out they pot. So that's what I mean about this. The sperm is going in reverse. Baby, they don't want you here. You imagine all these people here. If you wasn't here, if the Negro wasn't here, if the African American wasn't here, how these people would do this land. Because see, we already have to pay for that. So don't ever think that you're out of it. No, and that's all of us, even the ones who ignore conversations like these. Huh? You gonna let the land that you used to build some of the greatest civilizations in human history, you gonna let the people who were the planters, who were the farmers, who connected with this earth, you gonna let what they had get taken by other people? Huh? Yeah. You're not in here to be treated like you're treated, to be in this matrix, what you call democracy. You see what it is. It's horrible. Why you still want to be part of it, I don't know. You're supposed to change the world. That's what every person's, if you talk to their mamas, their grandmamas, that's what they say. To make this world a better place. That's what all your music is about, your good music. Putting yourself in a groove where you're trying to make this a better place. It's not happening. Why? Because the sperm is in reversed. Chief Kashrito Fleming says, Tupac Amaru Shakur was an indigenous warrior from South American, an Incan. Yeah, I was talking to my sister, and she was telling me about the Incas. She was in Peru. And she said that they don't call themselves Peruvians, they call themselves Andeans. And so that's what I'm saying. You can't let other people call you and name you stuff. What do you call yourself? And what we see with the African American Black Negro, they call themselves whatever they're told to call them. But Chief Kawishto, you're absolutely right. Why would he take an indigenous warrior and teach the people that's coming up to put themselves in a bad situation when they age? And you can already see the numbers of the hip surgeries, the knee surgeries going up. What are happening to these people where their surgeries is going up? Because they grind and these motherfuckers into the ground. Huh? You don't see you're in a matrix where you're the one that everybody's making the money off of? You won't eat what your forefathers produced. You'll eat something in a cellophane bag, right? Right. Copper Indio says Andean Indian. That's how simple it is. That's how simple it is. All they got to do is change a letter. All they have to do is not dot the I, and you'll jump on it. Other people can come tell you who you are, what you think, what you do, and tell the world so the world can come over and capitalize on you. Isn't that how it's done? Isn't that how it's done? So I'm going to go ahead and end it with this. And I wanted to use that Tupac story because the music has gotten way worse than that. And noticing this with my niece yesterday of how just the sound. Remember, your central nervous system is sending it out to every cell in your body. These sounds aren't even natural sounds. They're made with machines. And we own it. We caught on it like a fish on a hook. Talking about this good? No. No. So the sperm is going in reverse is to say that we are deleting ourselves out of existence. I mean, you see the social media. I mean, let's stop playing like it's not like that. You see the social media. They're trying to rid the planet of y'all, man. Check out these cities, check out the water situation in Jackson, and remember, it's not just Jackson and Flint. Trust me, it's under your feet also. So, hope everybody has a happy Tuesday, and we'll see you soon. Peace.